Hi there. I recently hosted my first ever Nexty Media event in New York with my partners at View Planner, during which we talked to folks from across the creator meets media meets brand ecosystem. And so this week, we're turning highlights of that gathering into a special bonus podcast episode. We've got tons of insightful comments from the likes of Loomis Connor McKenna, Ian Schaefer from Assembly, Jamie Goodfriend of Creator Vision, Ali Parrish from Horizon, and many more. We even talked to a real-life creator. So lots to get into, so let's get started.
Hi, Sunny. How you doing?
Hi, I'm Haley. Is this thing on?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. I worked in the creator economy for 8 years, and I work at Made by All. I've been at Made by All for 3 years. We represent the top creators in the creator economy, including Sydney, who created the TikTok viral series, The Group Chat, and is nominated for TikTok Rising Star of the Year. Go vote on TikTok.com. Handing it over to Sydney.
I'm Sydney. I created the group chat. I'm nominated for Rising Star of the Year. I was smart enough to sign with Made by All and have Haley as my manager. And yeah, it's been about 8 months since I started being a creator full time and since the group chat went viral, and a lot of exciting things in the works. So I'm just happy to be here.
So Sydney, a few months ago, you were on the Today Show.
Yeah.
And now you're here. Look at what's happening for you.
I know, it's crazy.
It is not. You probably get very tired of this, but give us the short version of the story, because I think people wonder so much. What we're talking about is creators that have been doing this for a long time and have a plan and an ongoing ad business. Give us your origin story in a quick couple of minutes.
In a quick couple of minutes. Okay, the Spark Notes version of my life is I was a theater major in college. I was actually kicked out of my theater department, which I love to bring up because I think it's such a big part of, it's so... I'm already lacking in the words. It's very subjective, and you never know. So for someone, my department to literally look at me and be like, "You're just not going to make it in this industry," was really ignorant on their part, because you just really have no idea. TikTok didn't even exist when I was in college, so nobody could have known. And I started working in jewelry. I was working in estate jewelry, like a normal 9-to-5 job in Midtown, and creating on the side after work whenever I could, creating videos. And I had this script written for the group chat, which it wasn't called at that point, and it mostly was just character descriptions that were really fleshed out. And I didn't post it for a long time because I was afraid that it would flop when I posted it, so I kind of kept that back. And I had a few viral series before that. I was at about 250,000 followers, and then I posted the group chat one Sunday, and 1 week later I had 1.7 million and was on the Today Show and in Rolling Stone magazine and had a cameo from Puth, which was crazy. And everything just really, really did change so fast. And I did feel like I was coming into a world of creators that had been doing it since at least COVID, and everyone was very established and knew each other and had this direction, which in some ways was really fortunate because I was able to get some really great advice from those people, and in some ways was really scary because I would come into events like this and everyone sort of knew each other and had this really vast knowledge of the business, and I didn't. And I had just been working in jewelry, and they'd be like, "Oh, you're a writer," and I'm like, "No." "Oh, you're a creator." "No, I really don't know." So, and I'm still figuring it out, but with the help of the right team, I feel like I've really navigated it over the last couple months.
So what happens then? And either of you can kind of chime in. You don't. That takes off. It's maybe unexpected, or you're not sure. Do brands start calling right away, or are you even thinking, "Well, I don't know if I could do that again"? Or do you start saying, "I got to turn this into business immediately"? Or what happens next?
I'll pass it to you. I'll go first. I'll pass it to you. I think for me, it was immediately I was getting a lot of calls from managers and agents and brands, and I didn't know how to navigate those situations by myself. I didn't know how to negotiate brand deals. The first, one of the first brand deals that I ever took, I really didn't know what I was doing. And later on, when the budget was discussed, it was like, "Oh God, why did you do that?"
It was someone said to you caved in too fast, or
they were just kind of like, "Oh, this is the money we're offering you," and I was like, "Okay." And then that was not the correct amount of money, I guess, for my ratio following, which I had no idea at the time. But it all happened really fast, and my boss in jewelry, who very, very supportive, but when I hadn't been to work in 2 weeks and I took a Friday off to be on the Today Show, finally came to me and was like, I don't think you can work here anymore. You're never here. And I was like, that's fair. This really isn't working out. So then I didn't have a job, and I did have this amazing opportunity on TikTok, but I didn't know how to turn it into revenue quite yet. And that was where my team came in.
Hello. So yeah, I saw the viral group chat series and was familiar with Sydney and was so excited when she took a meeting with Made by All because her type of virality is very rare. But I think, and Sydney can attest to this, like the first thing I asked her was like, I'm so excited to meet you and hear what you want to do. Whereas every other management company and agency had come to her with like a full plan and like their own vision and never asked her what she wanted to do. In terms of the brand side, we would marry like her vision along with like a lot of brands coming to us and asking us, to be on her TikTok and to be on her Instagram. But we had to figure out a way for her to still produce the group chat in an organic way that her audience loves so much and to also incorporate brands in there, but not detract from engagement. So that was its own battle.
Okay. So you've both heard a lot of the different points of view on how this process could be better or faster. Again, this is very unique to your show and your following and everything. But is there a right way for brands to approach you? Obviously you're a little more established. You have an agent. Like, is there a better way that this could happen where going forward you get this right, or is it always going to be unique to a show, to a series, to a moment in time?
I can start with that. I heard everyone go before me, and I have some opinions myself. But so brands, just are not approaching the creator. You're approaching me because her email comes directly to me.
Okay.
So more than likely, you're talking to their manager or agent first before you ever get to Sydney. You will chat with me for a while. So I'm assessing the brand deal in regards to like, does the budget make sense for her? Does the creative make sense for her? Is this a brand that she would even want to work with? I know her pretty well at this point, so like 9 times out of 10, I can probably gauge like, is this a fit for Sydney? Or I'll call her and be like, do you like this brand? And if it's
got to be hard to say no in the beginning, right? Or it's got to be scary. I would think like,
no.
What? No, no.
She is quick to say no.
See, I always say yes when someone calls.
I was really decisive from the beginning. Actually, before I even signed with Made by All, I had gotten even to this day, one of the most like biggest budgets for a brand deal that I had been offered, and it was just not a fit at all. I could tell that they had not really seen the group chat and they didn't really know.
Like they just saw a headline and they're jumping in like, I want to jump on the virality.
It was sort of like, oh, look at the camera and say this like very Truman Show-esque of advertising. And I was like, oh, that's really not kind of what my brand is. So they sort of knew that from the beginning, I think.
Yeah, we definitely got a feel for like what she liked, what she didn't like, so that we could speak with the brand and get a sense of the deal so that we're not calling her every 2 minutes with like, oh, well, what about this?
So, okay, you work with lots of clients at your company, right? Is there a way to what do you think of these ideas of trying to standardize this and trying to pump out a lot of brand recommendations for a bunch of influencers at once versus doing what you're talking about, which is like taking your time, finding the right opportunity, working together? Did you have to go one way or the other? Is there a right way to do things? Balance?
I think what someone said previously about it being a relationship and not just maybe they said transaction, I'm not sure, but the word relationship is definitely true. That's what we look for. For example, for her group chat, and she can speak to this too, we had a brand partner, Hilton, that worked with us across many seasons of the group chat. So they were already very familiar with the series. Before they even approached, they were a fan of the series. They knew it backwards and forwards. They knew and liked her content. And that was really apparent when they approached. And then they were willing to work with her in terms of scripting, still following FTC guidelines, but also letting her be the creator and be the writer. So that was a long-term relationship, and that is what we look for in terms of like more transaction and choosing 100 different creators. I guess it depends what the brand is trying to achieve. There are a lot of brands that are launching something and they just want so much traction and they're choosing 100 different creators to get that traction. I think that's okay. If they want to spend the budget, like go for it. But I think, the long-term and the relationship building is definitely what we look for.
Yeah. I agree. I think with the Hilton specifically and with a lot of brands like that, I appreciate when a brand will come down to the influencer level. I think a lot of problems with brands is that they sort of see themselves as like this sturdy staple in the industry and like they don't need to concern themselves sort of with social media. And that's fine, but it's harder to organically integrate them into content when they are not so flexible with social media and they don't really understand it. So, I mean, Hilton appeared in my comment section, as did, TripAdvisor, which was another brand we worked with the first season. That we did like a travel partner, and it was because they appeared in the comments very early on. And then there were so many of my followers commenting back to them like, oh, you're here in the comments, you should fund this, Costa Rica trip that's sort of being talked about, which was fictional. I initially said like, there's this bachelorette in Costa Rica. It was a plot of the group chat. We did not think we were going to go there, but because TripAdvisor appeared in the comments and they were like, oh, we could send you to Costa Rica, then there was a call for it. And I think I really appreciate when a brand will come down to my level and not take themselves so seriously. And it does make the process of writing and working with them a lot easier when I feel like they fully understand the world that I'm living in, as opposed to the traditional advertising, commercials on TV and stuff. It's very, very different when you have a creator who's on the front lines. And if something doesn't go well, I'm the one mostly getting the backlash, not necessarily the brand that I'm working with. So I have to be very picky and strategic about who I work with.
So you still find some brands are just like, I don't want to get in the muck with social media, or is it just a control thing and that the letting go that's still a challenge? Haley, if you don't have thoughts on that, or either of you.
I mean, there are a lot of brands that are resistant to social media. Literally, if you look at, like the top 30 brands that have the highest budgets and make the most money, you can Google or look at them on TikTok, and a lot of them don't even have TikTok accounts, which again is fine. But I don't know if it's a coincidence or not, but I do find that the brands that don't involve themselves with social media have a harder time understanding what it is that we're doing. And if we're not on the same page, like, for example, I had a brand, all of my characters since like the first episode are color coded. There's 7 characters that I
play them all,
them.
we should say.
I do play them all. It's very Jim Carrey of me. But they're all color coded. And so I had a brand be like, well, you can't wear these 4 colors. And I was like, that's not possible. And it makes me think that you've never even seen an episode. Then it's so hard. Then it's like every single step that we go through.
You're not asking to
delayed.
drink a competitive soda. You're just asking that, like, you want to wear.
I just need to wear black. It really is so simple. And it makes every step of the way a lot harder when I'm like trying to explain my content, explain social media, explain like everything along the way. And it's not so fluid as it is with brands who come on and they're like, we know the group chat, we get it, we understand the social media aspect of it, why it draws people in, and we're ready to just be integrated into that.
I think
Go ahead,
by
please.
the time brands come to us, they've succumbed to social media because they want to work with our creators and they have a budget for it. But I think, to your point, it's like the resistance comes from, and sometimes it's not their fault. So I am on the brand side as well as the creator side, and I'm trying to like marry the two visions. They have like a huge legal team they need to respond to. There's FTC. Someone said earlier, like, no one can be in the background. That's a huge thing. But I think the more that they can let the creator have their own vision, and like Sydney said, like, they're familiar with their content, like they're coming into it with prior knowledge, and like, they know who they're working with, like you're paying them for a reason. So that's always helpful.
Did you, I'm curious about what you both think of the platforms getting more involved or not involved, but did you hear from TikTok like right away, or do you, hey, come into our partnership program, or not at all? No. I wasn't part of the creator rewards program on TikTok for many reasons, but I actually have not. I don't know if we've ever heard from TikTok.
Well, they invited you to the award.
They did invite. They nominated me for an award. I take it back. TikTok, we love you so much. No, the apps and the actual platforms are great. But a lot of them by design are not super communicative with the audience. I mean, like, if anybody's ever been locked out of their Instagram account, there's not exactly like a help hotline you can call, right? You have to kind of finagle your way back in. So by nature, that's not how it is, but I don't think it's a bad thing. I do think it would be beneficial if someday there was a way to directly contact TikTok more. We do have contacts at TikTok that we speak to, but it's such a large platform that you speak to one department in TikTok. That's the one department. It doesn't apply to the whole thing. You could speak more to that.
Yeah, we have a very close relationship with Meta and YouTube. TikTok is uniquely difficult, but also love TikTok, and please
just because they haven't been around
Sydney
as long,
win,
or they're getting sold maybe, or
I think there's a lot of different reasons.
They're just so massive.
Right.
Like, they're just such a huge platform. Everyone's on TikTok. I think with Facebook and Instagram, it's a little more spread out, and Snapchat and stuff, but just everybody's on TikTok.
I mean, Meta's huge. Like, there are so many people that work at Meta, but they there's like a creator rep for most of the large creators, and they really advocate for their creators, and we have a close relationship with them. I can get them on the phone if you get locked out of your Instagram. And same with YouTube. So TikTok is uniquely difficult.
So I like this.
Yeah.
What good or bad that for you, from your perspective, that YouTube is getting maybe more involved in helping connect brands and creators?
Yeah.
Is that mostly a good thing? Or what about ad tech companies coming in and trying to do that?
I love YouTube. I will support them all day. And I always tell Sydney to do more on YouTube, post on YouTube Shorts.
Every day.
Every day. It's in the calendar. I like that they're getting more involved in creators. I love that. We do a lot of work with YouTube. They see creators as being the new Hollywood, which I completely agree with and is kind of the ethos of our company. There's a lot of work that we're doing with them to support that vision. So what was the other question?
Or is it good to have third parties coming in and trying to become the brokers or the, ad techifying this space, or is that stay out of my way? We got
That's fine as long as they have budget. Come through.
All right. Both of you can answer this, but Cindy, what has been really surprising to you about this weird business, and what do people not understand?
Oh my goodness. I mean, I think one of the things that I've come to really learn is just truly how many hoops brands and the agencies that the brands work with have to jump through. I think at first I would get really frustrated and be like, why is this so hard? But now I understand there's so much legal. There's so many higher ups in different departments.
The company is probably even harder.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And there's so many departments that they have to go through in order to make decisions and get things approved. And I think that was the most surprising thing. I thought brands were going to be sort of the biggest hurdle, but having the right team is really the biggest thing who will advocate for you and understand that. Because unfortunately, there are management companies and agencies who really do just want to make the most money off you that they can. And you have to find ones who really believe in you and see the longevity of it if they're going to fight for you and, not just try to make the most money off of you that they can.
Haley, last word. What do these people in this room not understand maybe that you need to help them with?
What do they not understand? Wow. I don't know what they understand, but the creator economy is it's such an exciting space. I'm so blessed that I got into this space 8 years ago when it was like in infancy, but we have a long way to go, which is also really exciting. So I think all the conversations around like creators working better with brands, I love to be involved in those because I am the middleman for the creator to work better with brands. What would make your life a lot better?
Better measurement, smoother processes?
There are so many cooks in the kitchen when it comes to brands working with creators, not just through me, but like if they work with an agency or they work, like we're talking to so many people and not brand direct. A lot of the time, yeah, the email chains are out of control. I think if the brand can keep like their deals in-house, sometimes that's really helpful so that you're not speaking through an agency who also doesn't know. Yeah. And it's really hard to FTC has gotten even crazier, right? So like the legal process and what they need to add to the caption and the disclosure, I think is getting even crazier. But the more that we can let it be entertainment, like someone said earlier, and not just a straight advertisement, the better it'll be.
All right. Thank you so much, Haley and Sydney. Thank you guys for coming out here. And thanks to everyone for spending so much time tonight. It's a terrific event. I appreciate you. You have lots of things to do. So I appreciate you taking time in your lives, and have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, please take a Yeti on the way out. And thank you, Review Planner, for all your support and help. Awesome night and happy holidays, I guess.
Thanks again to my partners at View Planner and all the folks that attended my recent Next to Media event in New York. We have lots more to bring you, so please hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time for more on what's next in media. Thanks for listening.